on the wall.
Ordinary painting is just maybe changing the wall to a particular color that you like. Mural is very interesting, and I used to say it, no painting is complete without an artwork like this. So for your painting to come out well, so you need to add some artistic to it so that will make it more, because a lot of people in the world, they cherish artwork. Now, for example, now, this is lion. A lion represents our king, and the writing here, so it's all about this place, because this restaurant is not just a restaurant, it's a reggae restaurant. So that's why we have most of the color here, reggae color.
Ebenezer further explains that murals are a mode of expression for artists in every graphic style imaginable, abstract, photorealistic, expressionist, to name just a few.
Anyone who is into painting and had a mural painting into his work will get more job than just ordinary painting. No matter how bad situation a building have, when you design it with artistic, even though if it is hot or olden building, when you paint it well with this mural artistic painting, it adds more value to the building, and it makes Lagos look more beautiful than
As a community centerpiece, the wall painting gets a new dimension as a powerful visual communication tool meant to promote the opinion of the people and transmit social and political messages towards unity. Murals bring art into the public space, and because they occupy public spaces, are accessible to everyone regardless of class, education, or ethnicity.
For me, I wanted to change that culture. I didn't believe that until you see a white man or you see a foreigner in the kitchen before you can believe that, good food is going to come out of that kitchen.
You can leverage on each other's spaces and, sell. We believe in Nigeria, right? We believe that Nigeria can get better. We, the youth, are the ones that can make it better.
And my products are proudly made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria, showing every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. and repeats on Saturday at 8:30 a.m.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayuwa Mesale, and today I'm joined by my amazing Monday tonics. It's Sia Fodile and Elsie Godwin. How are you ladies doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
So who's going to go first? The lady that re-dyed her hair. Let me start with you. How are you, Isi?
Yes, I am fine, thank you. It's been a beautiful weekend, and I'm looking forward to this week. For the first time.
Am I ready to share how my weekend went?
Well, tell us about it. You had so much fun, you didn't want to come back.
How are you, Elsie?
I'm very well, thank you.
So what was Monday like for you?
Monday was busy and fun. So yeah, I enjoyed my day.
Weekend fun?
Restful, very restful.
You can see the glow is back.
Very restful.
The dripping beauty is back.
Oh, she's dropping glory.
I had an eventful weekend. Oh my God! From jumping from pillar to post, traveling, meeting. But it was good. It was a good one.
It's
I went to a
thing.
village, Ibiade. Oh my God, you needed to have seen the horses I saw in that village.
Oh.
Beautiful. The brown one.
Did you get to ride on any?
Auntie? The brown one was a bit shy, so that one was, but if you see that brown, you know the shiny brown.
Yes.
So beautiful, but it was so shy. Immediately I was walking towards the horse, I knew it was shy. Because as soon as I was
Male
getting close, he was moving backward. They were both male. Ooh. But the white one, immediately he saw me coming. He just came and stood so that, you know.
With all rigor.
So healthy, well-fed horses. I said, wow. And the man he's the ballet of the land. So he's old, you know, he's an ex-military guy, he's a colonel. So the man has been saying that, you know, he's been wanting to bring some form of development into the country and all of that, into the town. But they don't understand. When he was saying, I have a garden, let me show you my garden, Auntie. I thought it was one.
It was ginormous.
When he opened the gate, I said, whoa. Wow. You know, the funny thing is, I put the video on my status. Somebody from Lagos called me and said, please, that particular pine, those trees, that he's been looking for the species of trees. That's when we begin the connect. Immediately, we connected him to the person. Apparently, the Baba bought them from Lagos, one of the gardens. I think we would invite those garden guys. I mean, it was so beautiful.
We should.
So beautiful. If you love nature, you would just fall in love with the place.
Was there an open space where you can actually sit down?
Yeah, it was like a sit out. So we now went later at night to sit out, have some drinks. And that was where I watched you from. All right, so today we're talking politics. We're not discussing. But that was a beautiful experience. I actually enjoyed the village. Then Milola was feeling proud with herself. That it's my village. I said,
oh my gosh.
And here's what we found as today's quote. Now remember that political parties are tools, and don't let yourselves turn into party tools. This is a very short, clear and simple message, because a lot of times with political parties, a lot of people, you know, with fisticuffs and all of that. Nigeria, I don't even know whether we have political parties, because
we do not know where to draw the
we just have carpets.
We just don't know where to draw the line.
Absolutely.
In politics in Nigeria.
Is there a line?
What?
Is there a line? She's asking
there should have been a line, but we don't know where to draw the line in politics.
All right, so with speculations of a possible defection from PDP to APC by the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, to several cross-carpeting over time, including the recent defection of Femi Fani-Kayode. What is the hope of better governance or leadership for Nigerians? As it seems all one needs to be a leader is just to align with those in power. I think that's just the quickest way to get into positions of leadership in Nigeria. So David Hundeyin is here to discuss this, but first we'll take a break to see what we found in the news. You're still watching Ways Now. Our elders are our link to the past, and what better way is there to honor them than on Respect for the Aged Day, celebrated on the third Monday in September. This year happens to be, 20th happens to be the third Monday of September this year. So it is a Japanese festival celebrated on the third Monday of September of each year. It is a national holiday in Japan on which people celebrate by spending time with their elderly relatives and friends. So happy International Aged Respect for Aged Day, the aged.
Absolutely. we should respect them in every aspect. You know, I'm a traditional girl, you know. I love our culture and tradition. LC girl, what's wrong with you?
I'm agreeing with you.
But the village I went to, though, everywhere is kneeling down. You see,
yes, you have to, because that's part of who we are supposed to be. When you see someone who is older than you are, you're supposed to respectfully, you know,
but you know,
give them that, accord them that respect.
This respect you're talking about, this is Japanese. It's not just in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
It's not just in Nigeria. I think even the French culture, so they take respect very, very, very,
that
they take it very strongly. No, they don't joke with respect, though.
But for those in Asia, yes, they hold it to heart.
there.
forget whether they are from India or China or Japanese.
Indians
They
too.
are strong with their cultures and traditions, and they do not joke with their
They don't.
people.
I think respect is a worldwide culture. Everyone should accord each other a
Not in
level of
America.
respect. Because you're saying not in America because you have an idea of what respect should be, and that
Exactly.
idea is what I think is even
It
our
should be.
problem. No, not should be. It's one of our problems in Nigeria. When you're talking of respect, it tells you, oh, to us here it is, don't question your leaders, don't question your elders, and that is where a lot of people, maybe that's not what you think it is, but that is the reason that your president will be offended if you're asking him questions as a leader of your country. That's
Even
the
though
reason
you ask the questions
of course,
respectfully.
that's the reason the governor would be offended if you question him about the policies of the state is running. So when it comes to respect in Nigeria, I don't think I totally agree that we should respect. I mean, I can even respect someone that is younger than me. It doesn't have to be older than I am.
Precisely.
But when you begin to think that respect is some form of entitlement, then I'm not
Exactly.
interested. And that's what it is in this part of the world, especially Nigeria. So, nah.
I believe that respect is reciprocal. The moment you disrespect, then you have lost every iota of respect for that person. You have to respect people for others, for them to respect you.
Give to receive.
Yes, so it's
Okay.
reciprocal.
Reciprocal, yeah.
Yes.
So, but this is for the aged.
Some aged are not. They are not
Aged.
respect.
They won't
Yes, they're
respect
not
themselves. They'll be expecting respect.
No,
You
they
don't
might
raise
be
your
suffering.
hand.
There might be suffering from
There's a story that
I
trended.
have
The
seen
woman just raised her hand and slapped the lady. I mean, I think it was a guy. I can't remember because I wasn't really following it. Like serious slap. Oh, like this is not your child. Not even your child. They've said bodily harm is not encouraged, right? Publicly, nothing reasonable. You just slapped. So I heard the guy slapped back.
I saw an aged woman actually peck money that dropped on the floor from a lady who was just right in front of her. I thought she was going to tell the lady, hey, madam, look at your money. Instead, she took the money and put it in her pocket. Such an old woman cannot be respected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enough of respect.
What did we find in the news today?
Okay, let me go first. Sokoto shuts down telecommunication network in 14 local government area out of 23 in the state as part of the efforts to check banditry. The governor announced this measure on Monday today in an interview with Voice of America Hausa Services, stating that approval was secured from the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami. He said the affected council areas are the most vulnerable to bandits attacks in the states. Recall that Zamfara and Katsina did same thing, I think, a few days ago. So they're following suit. And he's saying that because of what was done in Zamfara and Katsina, a lot of the bandits are running to Sokoto. So it made it very necessary for them to, of course, shut down as well and try to handle the situation. But I still feel the same way I felt when I took the story about Zamfara State. Was it last week or last 2 weeks? Because there's a lot of things that come to mind in terms of cutting people in this area of communication.
Exactly.
So the only report we got, especially from Zamfara, was the governor coming out to tell us that there's progress, right? We've not been able to at least see in the media of people in that area actually coming out to say there is progress. So for example, if a Lagos State, now this for example, decides to say they're shutting down network in Lagos State, for example, and then the soldiers goes to a place like Surulere and gets hold of the banditry there and reports that, this is hypothetically speaking, and then in Lekki, for example, Lekki people are suffering from being manhandled and
Nobody can report that.
nobody can report that. You don't know
reach out,
anything. So I don't know how effective this is. I've also said on this show that I'm very much up for it if it's really as effective as the claim it says, but I'm really skeptical
the
because
funny
if there's
thing is-
emergency in terms of
to
health,
this?
I'm not yet. So if there's emergency in terms of health, in terms of I need help, how do I reach the next person?
You know, what has helped us over the years, honestly speaking, is the invention of GSMs and phones and, smartphones or whatever, and just communication in general. I remember many years ago, before you go to school, they would pray. It's a letter you send, you know. So I don't understand why a strategy would be to shut down communication. Communication has always been in a sense that, you know, there can be a robbery happening right here. You can quickly send a message that avoid this. I mean, it's real time online information. So I don't know how that strategy would work. I'm sorry.
Nobody's explaining it. So that's
I don't know how it's going to work. But let's move on. Isi, your story.
Well, that is a bit unsettling for me, actually. I'm not, I don't like that story at all.
And I think a lot of people are not talking about it because it's happening in the north.
Really
so if this was happening in the south...
No, but there was a story I sent to you about, I think it was Kogi State, saying that, you know, a particular local government area has been taken over by bandits. So it's actually a big issue. So I do not know how we're going to solve this problem.
Well, my story is... a sequel to the last story I took last week, actually, on the fact that we had gunmen or IPOB invading a school and putting a hold on or telling the students to stop writing the West African examination, certification examination in Imo State. So the story is, like I said, is a sequel, and it says FG to reconsider Southeast candidates who missed that exam. So currently what they're working on is the fact that the Ministry of Education has assured that candidates who missed the 2021 West African Senior School Certificate examinations in the Southeast will be given another opportunity to write the examination. For me, I don't know if they're going to give them another set of questions, basically. I don't know the modalities, but the fact that they're giving them a chance to, you know, revive that, the opportunity that they missed previously, I think is applaudable.
Yes, it's a good move. It is a good move.
Yes.
All right, so my story is also a follow-up from what you guys took on Friday. Dollar hits 575. 2 days after Aboki FX suspend their updates on their website. Now, the dollar rose to about 572 and 575 in different parts of the country. So I think in Lagos was 572, then in Kano was 575. And while pounds sold for 780, I suppose 770. So these, you know, remember the central bank governor had accused the online foreign exchange platform, that's Aboki FX, of manipulating the forex market. So he had said that they would shut down the operations, which he described as illegal. So subsequently, FX, that's Aboki FX, said in a statement on Friday that they would no longer publish exchange rates for now and hoped that the naira would stabilize. Hey, so Aboki now, FX now said that, because people were wondering, okay, where do they even get their ratings from? So Aboki FX said that they get all their information from Bureau de Change operators in Lagos. That's how that's where they get their information to update on their website. So this is actually going to be interesting because we don't even know where the dollar is going to right now.
It's sad, really, because I think this is one of the saddest stories I came across over the weekend. This is aside the death of the former deputy CBN governor. Because I don't understand, is the CBN trying to say that one man in the name of Sheung, is he Onigbinde or what, the man that owns Aboki FS now, is stronger and has more influence on the dollar
the entire rates
than CBN itself? It is worrisome, and I don't know how we got to this point. If you watch that press conference, then you'll probably be more irritated as to how he was saying, oh, come and fight me. I don't know. I don't know where we are going. I don't know why CBN is trying so hard not to be transparent, because I think if there's going to be a solution to the naira getting a bit of value to the dollar, then there has to be transparency so that those that are coming to invest would be able to come and understand that this is what is going on. But if you want to create a level of opacity and shrewdness in the whole business, and I don't know how this is going to work.
We begin to produce more than we import.
There's even a scarcity of dollar, which is
that's my problem. So you see, forex does not just, you don't just earn forex like that. See, until we get to that point where Nigeria, everything we still import, most of the things we import, for goodness sake, how do you expect your economy to grow?
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that is the only problem right now, because we did not just start
a
importing.
big problem. You know why? Because the demand for dollar would really crash, because you wouldn't need to import anything. You understand? If you're producing locally. But let's take a break. We're discussing cross-carpeting. Abi?
Yes,
we'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, right? No question. He's a living legend.
God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV. Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. You have it already, Abi.
I am not hungry. If I need appointment, all I need to do is to start praising government.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say. The moment we stop having charlatans occupy political offices, we will curtail hate speech.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, in politics, a defector is a person who gives up allegiance to one state in exchange for allegiance to another, changing sides in a way which is considered illegitimate by the first state. More broadly, it involves abandoning a person, cause, or doctrine to which one is bound by some tie as of allegiance or duty. So what are reasons for the surge in defections in Nigeria? Turncoats usually would complain about the absence of internal democracy in their parties and of political witch hunt by political gladiators, not remembering to state the level they can go just to occupy political offices and zero interest for the nation they intend to govern. So how true is this though? Particularly since no mention is made about the developmental interest of Nigeria as reasons for changing sides. Isn't it weird to see politicians castigate a political party at sunset only to defect to the same party at sunrise? What does it mean for our democracy, and how would it impact us as a nation? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So I'm going to bring in David in like a minute or two. What do you think all this cross-carpeting, jumping from APC to PDP, back to PDP to APC, what do you think?
Political nomadism. That's all I can say.
They call them political
because it's I don't know. How do we hold our political leaders accountable? Governance is one thing. For whatever reason that they move from one party to the other, it's not in the interest of the people. It's not about governance.
It's always personal.
It's always about an agenda. It's always about the political party, or it's always about the internal division. One way or the other.
It's not internal. I said it's just. Let me hear Elsie's thoughts.
If there's one thing I agree while you were speaking, when you said some of their excuses is the fact that there's no internal democracy. I think that's the one I would definitely agree with them 100% because I remember we had a guest where I asked the question and I said, if the political parties we claim to have does not practice democracy in their party, then why exactly do we think we have democracy in Nigeria, you know? And remember when we had Kunle Lawal as well, when he said that when he lost the election in Abuja, to him, he didn't feel like he lost an election. He felt like the people lost a senator, right?
Exactly.
And I said, I want to get to that point where I begin to see our leaders look at politicking and elections that way, that they are there to serve, and if you don't choose me to serve you, then it is your loss.
It's
and
your
maybe
loss and
there
not
would
mine.
be sanity.
And that is when you
but
actually,
of course, I would like to hear what our
when your
guests will say,
intentions
because
that is
pure.
See, that is when it's not even about purity. Forget, everybody's intention is pure. I purely want to enrich my pockets. But you see, it is when the intention is about the people. It's about governance. It's about what you're supposed to do. So a lot of times when you see them cry wolf, is because it seems like they do not have the opportunity to sit at the what's it called, the seat of power. So they would cry wolf and all of that. Next thing they say, yeah, come, clean your face, come and sit down here. Come and take this. It's almost like a compensatory kind of thing that we see all the time. So that's what sickens me to my stomach, because I mean, in other climes, you would see people, strong Republicans, strong Democrats, there are ideologies that they follow. So as long as those ideologies are what they are moved by, you can't just jump and say, wake up and say.
So if you're going by that, the question you should be asking now is, what is the ideology of an APC? And what is the ideology
let me ask David.
of a PDP? So if there's no ideology, what do you expect the members of the political party to hold on to?
All right, so let me ask our guest. David is a writer, investigative journalist, and broadcaster whose work has appeared on CNN, the Africa Report, the New Yorker magazine, and the Washington Post. His work as a satirist on the other news, Nigeria's answer to the Daily Show, has featured in New York Times Magazine, and is also on Netflix as a documentary. That's Larry Charles' Dangerous World of Comedy. In 2018, he was nominated by the U.S. State Department for the 2019 Edward Murrow Program for Journalists under the International Visitors Leadership Program. And in February 2021, he won the People's Journalism Prize for Africa in 2020. Thank you so much. And he's joined in from the UK. Thank you, David, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so you heard our banter on this topic. Nigerian politics and the impact of cross-carpeting on governance. You know, for me, I think we do not have ideologies that we follow when it comes to our political parties, and I feel that a lot of them are just in politics just for what they stand to gain, not so much about governance or, providing great leadership for the people. But let me hear your initial thoughts.
So something I wanted to quickly point out was that before I get to the political parties, the people referred to as politicians in general, we make a mistake in Nigeria where we put all of them in one basket, that politicians are all the same. There are politicians and there are politicians. There are politicians in Nigeria who have actual agenda, whether for good or for evil. They actually have some form of ideology. The current head of state, for example, is one such person. I'm not so sure it's a positive ideology, but he does have some kind of ideology. And then you have your Femi Fani-Kayodes and your Dino Melayes and your Atiku Abubakars, who are your regular, meat and potato horse trading politicians. They're not in the same category. They're politicians who are just looking for opportunities to get something for themselves. And they're politicians who actually have some kind of agenda, some kind of a vision for what they think the country should look like, whether for good or for bad. And bringing that back to the political parties, yes, on the surface, it would seem as though because of the rate of, as you put it, cross-carpeting between the two major parties, it would seem as if, right, these two obviously have, there isn't any significant difference between them. You can just move from one to the other back and forth, as people like Fani-Kayode have done several times. He started off in the APC, then he moved to the PDP, then now he has moved back to the APC after saying that he'd rather die than do that. However, it's also important to keep in mind that Nigeria's politics, first and foremost, has never been ideological. The political formations, which we know are political parties, are built first and foremost around regions and around religions. They are regional parties and parties built around religious identities, which have morphed into national parties. I explained in a thread I did on Twitter a couple of weeks ago that the party we refer to as the APC now, for example, is a successor party made up of the parties that used to be the Action Group, which was Obafemi Awolowo and the Northern Conscience Party, which was what's his name, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa's party. The successor parties of those entities now make up what we now know as the APC. The party we know as the PDP had a similar power sharing agreement. So the parties that we knew as the UPGA, the NCNC, and so on, they make up what we now know as the PDP. So there is a strong regional component that makes up the politics of Nigeria, and that persists today. So it's important to remember that the major thing that differentiates parties in Nigeria is not really their ideology per se, it's their regional outlook. So the reason the PDP was created in 1998 after the death of General Abacha was a sort of elite consensus such that an Abacha wouldn't arise again, such that there wouldn't be conflict again. So they created this sort of power-sharing vehicle, which they called the PDP, and they introduced things like zoning to sort of pacify everybody. In practice, that didn't work out. They think very well that didn't work out. And then the APC broke out, and then they became what they are today. So in the process of trying to pacify everybody, the PDP became broadly sort of market-oriented. So that sort of gives it some form of economic ideology, even though that's not something that is written down in its constitution anywhere. And then the APC, on the other hand, based on the makeup of the parties which made up the merger of APC, has its own separate leaning. Now, the politicians who hop between both parties, I have to say, are some of the I don't want to use the word unfortunate, but these are the politicians who you really don't want to entrust a country to. These are politicians who first and foremost don't understand even the game that they are playing. They don't understand the politics that they're playing. All they're looking for is just anywhere there's corn, like a chicken, you just go peck it. So you start off in the APC, move to PDP, move back to APC, move to, wherever you see an advantage, you move like that. Because you don't really understand what the people who created these parties you don't really understand what led them to create it, what agenda they are pushing. You think you are part of the power structure, but you're actually not. People like Femi Fanika, they fall very much into this category. People who you see them in the news every day and they take pictures with the president. And so, you get the impression that these people are close to power. Actually, they're not. They're not even close, right? So these kind of people, you probably shouldn't take them that seriously. The kind of people you take note of are people like the president, who has been in one political formation for most of the past 20 years and has never shifted. Those are the kind of people you want to keep an eye on. What agenda do they have? What ideology do they have? And the power that they wield as the de facto head of the party that he is, what is he doing with that power? That's, when you're analyzing Nigerian politics, that's what you want to pay attention to, not Femi Fani-Kayode.
Okay. David, it's interesting that you are categorizing these people and the different kind of cross-carpeting. And I don't think this started with a Fani Kayode or a Dino Melaye or those who would say they are very interesting in the media. But I wanted to categorize people like Governor Obaseki of Edo State. What would you describe, what would you say is the motivation behind his own cross-carpeting? Because it's sort of paid off.
Well, I mean, in his case, it's a purely local thing. It's also important to differentiate state politics from national politics. So at state level, they have what they call APC and PDP, but those are just proxies for something else entirely. So at state level, the sort of power equation in Edo State, the factions that make up the power struggle in Edo State, they then adopt one of these sides. So if you are on a particular power structure, you adopt the party called PDP. Not because you know what the PDP means or you care about what it stands for, or it means anything to you, but simply because it's a vehicle. And then the other people take the party called APC because that one is also a vehicle and it has federal backing. And then two people fight it out. In actual fact, the fight is not really APC versus PDP at state level. There is something deeper than that. So in Godwin Obaseki's case, for example, where his main challenger, his main rival, Pastor Ize Iyamu, if you trace the line back far enough, there's actually a family dispute between both families. There are two very powerful families in Edo State who historically don't get along. There's a conflict there that predates the creation of APC and PDP. So the insertion of those parties into the politics of Edo State is just a thing of convenience. I don't think they really can. And if after 2023, if APC morphs into something else, you see they will also morph too into that something. Because whatever they are claiming to be now doesn't really matter. They have their own politics that they play. I was talking to someone recently who made the point to me that in states like Cross River and Akwa Ibom, where it seems like the PDP has this everlasting stranglehold on their politics, and people don't understand why these people are so loyal to the PDP. Why do they always vote for the PDP? And he explained to me, he's an indigene, he explained to me that you people from the outside see it as PDP, whereas we see it as NCNC, which is our regional party. So the PDP was basically just a successor party for the NCNC, which was our regional party. So that's how come, we're willing to die with it, because it's our NCNC. So to you, it's one thing. To us, it's something else altogether. It's just that it just takes on, it wears an umbrella on its head. So, you think this is one thing. It's actually something else entirely. So state politics and federal politics, very different.
Absolutely. You know what? On that note, we'll just take a very short break. When we return, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thought and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
If you just tuned in, we're having an amazing chat with David on political cross-carpeting. Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So just before we went on a break, you were talking about, federal level, different things. And I remember one time, sometime, I think Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was still president, and there was an event happening at a big place where they had a lot of political leaders. And this woman she was a local council or something in Lagos. And I remember her telling me that, the first lady had told her that, come, all this na APC, now here is stop, now here is stop. That when you come to Abuja, it's PDP. So meaning that even though APC is in power in Lagos, they respect and they understand that APC is in power in Lagos. But you see, when it comes to federal, everybody's PDP. So tell me, how does this even impact the kind of leadership that we're going to have? Because it means that nobody can be held accountable. You can just do whatever it is that you like, how does this impact our governance? Help me understand this.
I think it's very clear the impact that this has had to date. The creation of the PDP, one of the major criticisms that should exist about the PDP, both as regards the time in power and as an opposition party, is that right from the start, PDP was never and I'm focusing on PDP obviously because this was the party that, to all intents and purposes, kicked off the Fourth Republic. The creation of the PDP was not something that we were involved in. It was not a project that the people were involved in. It was an elite consensus thing. It was a group of powerful military officers and rich business elites who came together and decided to create a special purpose vehicle, to parcel a country out to each other and to essentially pacify each other with different, little fragments of the country. We weren't involved. So the effect that has on governance is that I remember in 2006, I think it was, or 2005, I was still a teenager then, and I remember it was the NTA then, and I think it was Audu Ogbe, if I remember correctly. I'm not completely sure about that. I think it was Audu Ogbe. He was he was a minister of communication or so, and I recall there was an incident. I remember this story very, very clearly because it caused a furor in the media. There was an incident where the NTA reported a story that the government felt some kind of embarrassment about. This was under Olusegun Obasanjo. And this fellow went to the NTA and essentially told them that, look, you people are an arm of the PDP. He didn't even say you are working for the government, so you are going to, repeat the government line. He said you are an arm of the PDP, you work for the PDP. That's what he said at the time. And I remember it caused a huge furore because actually that's not true. The NTA is not an arm of a political party, it's an arm of the government. Yes, the government is controlled by a political party, but at least on paper, the NTA is supposed to be apolitical, it's supposed to be partial. But that statement, even though it was probably a Freudian slip, that statement betrays the way politics has been shaped in Nigeria since the start of the Fourth Republic, where it's assumed that once you are in power, once you've won an election, then the entire state is at your disposal, it's at your political disposal. All the levers of government are at your disposal. So For example, in 2016, after the current president came in, and he decided that the entire country has to bow to his will. There shouldn't be any such thing as an independent arm of state. So I recall in 2016 when there was this media campaign going on about how judges are allegedly corrupt, and then the DSS was going around bombing the houses of judges in Abuja, and it was absolutely surreal to me. But the perception really in Abuja at the time was that, look, we are in power now, it's our turn. We are the ones in charge. So anyone who thinks that there should be any such thing as an independent arm of government, or they want to maintain their autonomy, they need to be flattened. And this was all across board. It went as far as the National Bureau of Statistics, the NBS, which was headed, fortunately for us, was headed by a very competent man, Dr. Yemi Kale. And fortunately or unfortunately for them, they renewed his 5-year term in 2016. Only for it to turn out that they regretted doing that, because this was somebody who was fiercely independent. This was someone whose office wasn't really funded by the Nigerian government. The people working in the office weren't on government payroll. They were on the payroll of multilateral institutions. So all the data that was being put out was objective data, which the government found embarrassing a lot of the time. And they made a lot of attempts to silence him or to try and influence him to report things in a slanted way, or to hide data, or to fiddle with statistics the way we used to, and he refused. Now his tenure has elapsed and he has been replaced, and we're going to see how we're going to regress. Because this was the precedence that the PDP created, and the APC is going further with it, that once you are in power, once you control the levers of government, then the entire country is your estate. The entire country belongs to you, and nobody else is allowed to have a say, and you can do absolutely whatever you want.
Yeah, but that is already is happening because they do not see themselves as truly opposing parties. Yes,
they're not truly,
because they know that tomorrow, if they throw a bone at the opposition, it will come over to their camp. But let me hear you.
Okay, so a political analyst once said to me that cross-carpeting is not against the Constitution. Okay? So how has this empowered, or how has this act of the politicians abused cross-carpeting in Nigeria? And how has it impacted governance as well?
Well, the act of crossing a carpet, the term actually comes from parliamentary politics, where you have to actually cross the floor of the parliament to go from the left wing to the right wing, or vice versa. The act of crossing a carpet is supposed to be like the political equivalent of hitting a nuclear button. That when you are absolutely at the end of your wits with the current status quo, and you are sure that the political formation you belong to no longer represents your ideals, then you cross the carpet and you go to the other side, because you believe that is better suited to serving the interests of the constituents. It's supposed to be a nuclear button. I'm not even talking about the morality of it. I'm talking about the political mechanics of it. It's not supposed to be something that you deploy every 4 years. Ideally, you are not even supposed to cross the carpet at all. It's supposed to be, and if you do it, it's supposed to be a nuclear option. It's not something that is supposed to be done regularly. So when you do this thing the way Nigerian politicians do it, because they don't really understand the purpose of politics and the purpose of governance in the country that they are working in, what that does is that it bastardizes the entire process. First of all, it creates in the corridors of power itself, it creates an idea that politics is just a game. It's not a life and death thing, whereas it actually is a life and death thing. Because everything, pretty much all the things that affect the lives of ordinary day-to-day people are determined by political decisions. The exchange rates that you were talking about, the reason the exchange rate is where it is the result of a political decision not to float the naira and to keep on maintaining an artificial, fraudulent exchange rate, which has a black market again. That's politics. Unfortunately, politicians don't understand that, because as far as they're concerned, it's just a game. It's just when you are not getting what you want here, you move to the other side, get what you want there. Some politicians actually have memberships in both parties at the same time simultaneously, because they really don't take the vehicle of politics serious. Politics to them is just a sport or a business. It's just something they do to gain income or to pass their time, to amuse themselves or something. So that's the major criticism I have of the act of crossing the carpet. It bastardizes the political process, the electoral process, and then almost as importantly, it creates an impression in the minds of the electorate that politics is a pointless thing, that there's no use engaging, that they're all the same. After all, they cross from one side to the other, they all like each other, they're all friends, so why should I bother voting? Which is a very dangerous situation to create in an electoral democracy, because when the voter apathy starts becoming like what we're having in Nigeria, where voter turnout is maybe like 20 or 30% in a federal election, then you are essentially having the leadership of the country determined by a minority of its population. And when that starts to happen, are you still a democracy? So that's the problem.
Okay, let me take this comment from BC. BC says, it's actually unfortunate that most of the Nigerian political class lack ideology. Most of the manifestos we get during campaigns are not expected to be trusted. Citizens don't hold the leaders accountable to ensure promises are fulfilled. It's so easy here to be a Democrat in the morning and conservative at night. The politics of winners take it all, and persecution of the oppositions contribute to this shameful behavior of cross-carpeting for no good reason. Thank you so much for that, BC. And I think that would take me to the question I want to ask in terms of what EC said regarding constitution allowing it. Do you think that there can be a constitutional solution? Because this is becoming a shameful thing, like she has rightly said, as far as I'm concerned. So do you think there can be a constitutional solution, and should we look into that?
That's a very difficult question. Some people have suggested in the past that there should be some kind of constitutional amendment to make it such that if a politician holding electoral office wants to switch parties while they're holding the electoral office, then they have to, yield the office, that it was the party that was elected to the office and not them, which technically is true, but some will also argue that it's not true. So I'm not really sure, and to me that seems like a minefield. So I'm not really sure, I want to take a position on that. However, in terms of politicians in general, switching from one party to the other, I'm afraid that isn't really something that you can legislate for. That isn't something that a constitutional amendment can change. The political behavior of Nigeria's political class isn't something you can fix with law. Nigeria is still a very immature country, politically speaking. I mean, this is by far the longest sustained period of, electoral democracy we have ever managed since independence, and it's just 23 years. So in global terms, we're a very young democracy. So I guess it's no surprise that we are making the decisions of a very young democracy. So unfortunately, I'm afraid that this is one of those instances where I think it's time and age and experience that will eventually force us to start, engaging in politics in a more mature way. I'm not sure this is something you can fix with a law, because this boils down to the lack of knowledge, it boils down to greed, it boils down to lack of patience, and it boils down to lack of moral fiber, if I'm to put it that way, lack of conviction. Lack of a fixed position on anything. So are these things that you can legislate for? I'm not sure. So unfortunately, I don't think there's a legal solution for it from my now.
Okay, so let me quickly take Raphael Akori, then I'll come to you, Isi, for your comment. Raphael Akori from Zaria says, cross-carpeting simply means our politicians are just political businessmen that need put food on their tables. Some of our political parties are tribal in their formation and has any national outlook. Our politicians are suffering from deficiency of ideology. That's why they will go to bed as opposition and wake up shamelessly in the other side. Never take them serious because they are potential anything. You guys should let me read this comment. Never take them serious because be a potential anything. You guys, let me read the comment in peace. Isi, let's hear your comments.
Sad.
It's sad, but I'm laughing.
The part that they said you wake up and you go to bed with
let me read it again.
With one person and you wake up with another person is or another.
Our politicians are suffering from deficiency of ideology. That's why they will go to bed as opposition and wake up shamelessly in the other side.
Oh God. Do you know what that connotes?
But it's not all of them.
Please read the comments.
Okay. So, still on what's it called? Cross-carpeting. This is from Ade. He says, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have politicians in Nigeria, but polytheians. This is transfer window for them against 2023 election to enrich their pockets. FFK is a man with political prostitution by jumping from APC to PDP to enrich himself. Few months ago, he spoke against PMB and now praising him for position. This is a man who cannot win an election in his family compound. Is unfortunate having this bad wagons in power. A law should be passed for anyone cross-carpeting to hand over the executive position before defection."
Okay.
I didn't know FFK house because I don't understand. But no. David, I want to ask. Okay. Do we still have him?
Like 2 minutes here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to bring up something. I hope you can just address it real quick. Remember when this administration started and the chant was fighting corruption, and people from the opposition and a lot of people felt like the fight against corruption was one-sided in terms of witch hunting those that are not for them, right? And there is a video going around of Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi accusing FFK of fraud, corruption, I think about 2 billion, something that happened while he was still in aviation, right? So do you think that this is going to fuel that perception we already have, a lot of Nigerians have regarding this administration when it comes to fighting corruption?
Well, yeah, and I mean, to be brutally honest, it's not just a perception, it's an empirical fact that, I mean, who was actually came out some months back and said, you know, join the APC and your sins are forgiven. He literally said that, I'm quoting verbatim. So it's never been subtle. They're very blatant about it that we have in power, and this is what it means to be in power. We have power to destroy the what journey. So if you know that you have to get to first, then come and join the community and hopefully save yourself. So yeah, this would definitely.
I think we're having trouble with David's network. His network is a bit cracky. So let me take another comment. This person didn't put their name. Says APC and PDP are the same party. And to me, they are all working together for financial gain, because I don't understand why people would just be moving from one party to another, from one party to the other, hated party to the other hated party. I mean, so I like your question that you asked, and this is where the impact. And I really
hope that audio will let him respond.
but I don't know if they can fix the audio quickly, but we've run out of time. But you see, where the impact is for me is this thing, we will never get good governance if this is what we see in politics, because it means that if I am not in your good books, now this allegation that Amechi made, the video that's been going around, it's possible that they want to wake up FFK's file. So the guy will just quickly run and go and be inside PDP. And this is what we see. You know, I literally heard that comment. It says, don't worry, come to APC, all your sins are forgiven. So if we have everybody in the APC, who then holds the APC for accountable?
Where is the opposition?
It's so sad.
There is no
It's so sad. But David, can we just hear you again if you can hear you for like a minute?
Please try again.
Because your audio was a bit poor.
Yeah, so
fantastic.
what I was saying,
you now. Yeah,
what I was saying was that yes, it will feed that perception, and deservedly so, because even the pronouncements that have been made by people like Adams Oshiomhole when he said that if you join the APC, all your sins are. Other pronouncements that by other prominent politicians in power have made it clear that this is what it means to be in power in Nigeria, and this is what it means to be in power in this current administration, that if you have skeletons in your if you have there's something to hide, then come and join the winning team and hopefully save yourself. Come and pay obeisance to the new sheriffs in town, and you'll be fine. And if you insist on being a strong head, if you insist on on being in your position and you have something to hide, then we'll come down on you like a ton of bricks, using all the levels of states that we have access to, including the EFCC or whoever. So, yeah, this will feed that perception, and deservedly so. It should.
So sad. But thank you so much, David. We've had a fantastic conversation. We hope to bring you back again for more of this. But this conversation, I'm trying to laugh, but it's not funny, honestly, because I mean, if this is what we get in terms of politics, I don't even know where the end in sight for a small ray of good leadership will come from. But thank you so much, David. You've been a fantastic guest. Thank you, LC Godwin. Thank you, EC. We had a fantastic conversation. All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, we're planning a giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand and following the conversation. Do well to follow us now. It's at PlusTvAfrica. Like, share, and invite your friends and family to follow and watch the show as well. So if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Remember that political parties are not our tools, and don't let yourself turn into political tools, right? Just remember this. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Doing.
Okay. Welcome to the lounge. And the conversations today, as you can see from what we've been fooling around with, is the Instaworld, the world where everything is real-time, online, wherever you are. My ladies are in the house, and we're going to be having the conversations today. And I'm going to just quickly say, just in case you didn't know, this is Omoye, our actress and our producer. And all of the above with her juju bag. She's inside. And then sitting right there is my Yan, to Hayin. My baby sister, you can't take that away from her. This is Dion, one of the top writers in this country. Yes, yes. Take a bow, take a bow, take a bow. And then right here, we have Ebufeludu, the coconut lover, who is a media practitioner and very savvy in the Insta world. And then finally, our one and the only little girl. I will call you little girl. This is Eno Essien of Ray Track, the only woman in the tracking business in Nigeria. You good? You good?
Yeah.
You good? I am Adesuwa Onyenakwe, the one and the only TV producer, presenter. I'm being naughty. I mean, well, really and truly, that Insta world was something that happened to me because I had to be part of some campaign that required that we ran something on Instagram. And I did it. I'm like, so it was fun. But after about a year, when I found myself getting up every day saying, 3 likes, 5 likes, 20 likes, and I started imagining that I'm getting sucked into a world that I'm not sure is real. I don't know whether you guys feel the same way.
I've always wondered about this. But, let's ask you again and ask everyone what they think about it after the break.
Okay, let's take a break. All right, we'll be back, I guess.
The Insta world, what's the reality, truly? What does it do? What does it change? I mean, I'm used to telephones that you wind. Now we press everything and it happens straight away.
But
what is the reality?
I can tell you what it changed in my life.
Yes.
It means I'm like, for 5 days I haven't been on Instagram, and then I put it up and I see messages, and I'm like, everybody looks so touche. So I'm worried to post picture of myself because I'm like, will people follow me if I post all these real photos? Everybody looks so perfect. Perfect on Instagram, and it bothers me. I don't know whether it bothers the rest of you.
Everyone has said there's an Insta look.
Yes.
What is it?
What is the Insta look?
It's a finished look. So, yes. So you don't wake up. This is not my reality, but it is the Insta reality. You don't wake up from your bed looking all bashed up and put that on Instagram, unless you're looking for attention or, you're looking for a story or controversy. You make sure it's all polished.
Makeup,
yes, and you think, have I worn that outfit before and put it on Instagram before? These are the pressures of, Insta world.
Being on the